And Second Chance has honestly become one of my least favorite tropes of all time to now one of my favorite tropes of all time. Hey guys, what's up? It's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel, and I am here today with Second Chance romances. So in the past 2 months, Second Chance has honestly become one of my least favorite tropes of all time to now one of my favorite tropes of all time. I don't know how that happened. Seriously, I didn't like the trope at all. It just wasn't for me. I just was never interested in it. And then around April, I read a few and they were all very good with very good angst. And I was thinking maybe I need to find some more and change my opinion here. So I read more, and like I said, Second Chance is definitely one of my new favorite tropes. So I think I have 5 books here to share with you. Without further ado, here are those recommendations. Okay, the first book I have is The First Baseman by Lulu. This is going to be a second chance baseball romance, and we are going to have 2 different timelines going as we're going to switch between the past and the present. And our book is going to start off in the past where our male hero has just gotten drafted to the MLB. He and his high school love are still in school. I think they're right about ready to graduate. And he breaks up with her and basically tells her that now that he's going to be famous, she's not it for him anymore. Then you're going to flash forward about a decade later, and I can't remember who she's working for, maybe NASA at this point. She was really, really smart, and he is playing professional baseball, and he's never gotten over her. So he is now playing for a new team, and his stipulations for signing with this new team was that they needed to go out and find her, bring her to the team to work for them, as an analyst or something like that. And that was the only way he was going to come. So she gets hired. It's going to be a workplace romance. And what I really enjoyed about this one was basically as soon as she got there and she saw him, he made his intentions well known. He basically looked her in the eye and said, "I brought you here because I'm going to get you back." And it was very angsty. The tension was top notch, and like I said, you're gonna go back and forth between the past and the present, but they really just had this epic, all-consuming first love. And I loved their past chapters, I love the present, but it all just came together really well, and it makes for a great sports romance. Then I have Wilder Love by Emery. I just finished this last week, and I absolutely love this. This is also a perfect summer romance if you're looking for more of those right now. So this is obviously going to be a second chance romance. And instead of our timelines bouncing back and forth here, this is going to be one where our format is half of the book is in the past, and then the second half we have a little bit of a time jump. Okay, so this book is going to follow Remy and Shane, and Remy and her twin brother and her mother have just moved to this new coastal town. They're the type of family that moves around every few months whenever their mom wants a change. Their mom is just not the best mom, okay? She doesn't really work. It's up to the kids to make sure everything gets done. And so anyway, they're new to this town, and Remy just wants to go explore. She wants to go to the beach, check it out. And when she's walking down the street, she meets Shane. And Shane lives across the street. He's a little bit older than her, so this is going to be a little bit of an age gap forbidden romance because he's over 21, I think, and she's 16 or something when they meet. And so he is very I can't touch you, you are under 18, and he's very, very adamant about that. But they develop a really great friendship, and then they get to the point where they can't really not be more than friends. They have to cross that line just because they have such a connection and intimacy with each other. But I absolutely love this story. The thing that happens that separates them is just so fucked up beyond believable. But like I said, this story is so good, and it is a trilogy. I did order the next 2 because I just really enjoyed this, and the next book is supposed to be about her twin brother. And I'm just saying, he gives me major, major Joey Lynch vibes from the Boys of Tommen series. So that one I'm obviously going to have to read right away. But for a second chance summer romance, this one was really, really good. Then I have Grace Monkey by Vari. This is a newer release on KU, I think from April. And this came across on my radar very randomly. Sometimes I go on the Kindle app when I'm really desperate for something to read, and I just scroll until something pops up, and this one popped up and I really enjoyed it. So this is going to be another one like our last book, where our format is going to be half the book is in the past, and in the second half you're going to jump to the future. So this book is going to follow two next door neighbors. Once again, we're going to have a little bit of an age gap, as she is in high school and he is not, but I don't think it was, once again, that much of an age gap. It was like the last book where he was just like over 20 or something. And he works at a garage. He's a mechanic. His parents, they work blue collar jobs. They're very, very much in love. And next door is our female main character, and if I remember correctly, I think she was the daughter of a senator, and so her parents were just very prim and proper. They had expectations for her. They really judged the male and his family next door just because they weren't like wealthy, higher class. And so when these two get together, it's another forbidden one where they kind of have to keep it hidden. I will say that the female main character's mother was absolutely horrible. She was one of those moms that was so overbearing. She controlled the way her daughter dressed, her hair, everything like that. And so when her mother finds out about this relationship, the things that she goes to make sure that they are not together were really extreme. But it was still a very, very good read. I really enjoyed this one. Then I have Letters to Molly by Devney Perry. I know I recently put this in a recommendation video, but for a second chance, this is really good. It is a second chance at a marriage, so I think it just brings it to a whole nother level. So this follows Molly and Finn. Their relationship was set up in the first book of this series, which follows Finn's sister, but you really don't need to read it to get the full gist of it. But basically, this book takes place 6 years after they've been divorced, and they are doing the co-parenting thing really well. They get along really well. They don't fight. They're just getting by day to day and putting their kids as number one. Well, what ends up happening is Molly one day suddenly starts to receive these old letters in the mail, letters that Finn had wrote to her at different stages of their relationship. But the catch is they were letters that he never intended on sending her. They were like his own private thoughts that he put away, and he is not sending these to her himself. So both of them are trying to figure out who's messing with them. It brings up a lot of old wounds that they never really got through during their divorce. It was stuff they like basically brushed over so they could just separate and get it over with. And so these letters really, like I said, it brings up old wounds that they have to rehash. And I absolutely love this story. It's got great close proximity as something happens to Finn where he gets injured and he's forced to move in with Molly for a little while, and they have to go back to what their marriage used to be of living together and taking care of the kids. But I absolutely love this story. I'm really not big on marriage in trouble or like reconciling marriage books, but this one was so good, and it definitely gave me a new appreciation for my husband and made me see him in a different light with just the different things that he does for me and our family. But this is a very, very good second chance. Then The Summer We Fell by Elizabeth O'Rourke. This is one of my top reads this year. This is actually a book I read on KU, and I loved it so much I absolutely had to order the physical copy so that I could go back and annotate it. But this is going to be a second chance romance between Juliet and Luke. It is a single POV. Normally I don't like that, but with this one I loved it because you were really trying to figure out Luke the entire time. And I have to say, did not disappoint. So anyway, this book is going to be a dual timeline here. So each chapter you're going to flip back and forth between the past and the present. And our past timeline here, Juliet, I believe, is 17. I think she's got a year or two left of high school. And she lives with her boyfriend, Danny, and his parents, who happen to be a pastor, and then the pastor's wife. She did not have the best home life situation, and she removed herself from it because she didn't feel safe there. Her boyfriend, Danny, took her in. Well, because of this, Juliet kind of feels trapped. Like, because these people took her in, she's going to have to stay with him forever, marry him, and that'll be the gist of it. When the book starts, there's definite sexism, very big gender-biased roles that Juliet has to play. The pastor and his wife are very, like, Juliet has to cook dinner, she has to have everything prepped, and none of this is asked of Danny. And then Danny comes home from college for the summer and he brings his new best friend, Luke. And so this is once again going to be a forbidden romance. And the angst in this one was just so sky high. What I loved about this one was Danny really had no clue about Juliet. He really didn't know what she wanted, her likes, her interests. And Luke got her and understood her from the moment he met her. He really was not nice to her at first because he himself was very frustrated with the fact that she was not happy and she wouldn't stand up for herself. And so he would just do these little gestures for her to make her happy. This also has very big overprotective male hero in here as Juliet gets herself into some really bad situations where Danny is a piece of crap boyfriend that will not defend her because he doesn't want to get in trouble. And Luke takes care of the problem and he has no problem taking care of it. And then our second timeline in the future is about a decade later, and Juliet and Luke have returned to this coastal town to help Danny's mom get a foster home up and running. And you can definitely tell that something very, very big happened in the past because there are main characters from the previous timeline that are missing in this present timeline. And so you're basically going to go through the book figuring out what happened, but I absolutely loved the relationship between these two. Like I said, the angst was just a whole nother level. Luke was a surfer, and honestly, this is just obviously another perfect summer read as well. And last, I have Ghosted. I know I've talked about this a lot in the last few months, but it is very underrated and it is very good, and more people need to read this. So obviously, we have a second chance romance, and for this one, we're going to go back and forth with chapters for our story, but the past is told in these journal entries written by our female main character. So it makes it quicker to get through the past, but it was still very, very intriguing. So this story follows Jonathan and Kennedy, and they fell in an epic romance in high school. They were so much in love that when Jonathan decided to drop out of school to pursue an acting career, Kennedy gave up her whole future and she left and went to California with him. And they ended up living there for a few years. Like I said, you're going to see in Kennedy's journal entries how everything went to shit. And then in our present timeline, I believe it's about a decade or so later, and Kennedy is raising their daughter Maddie alone back in their hometown. Jonathan is now this big-time action Hollywood star, and he is currently in New York, which is very close to where Maddie and Kennedy live, and he's filming a movie. He gets injured on set, and so he kind of has to stay around for 30 days until he can go back and film. And during this time, he decides to go look up Kennedy and Maddie. Now, he's known about Maddie. He has sent child support payments, but Kennedy has just never cashed them. She doesn't want anything from him. And so he tries his ever-loving hardest to insert himself back into their relationship. And I just really loved it. I loved his relationship with Maddie. I loved his relationship with Kennedy. Just overall, this was a great second chance romance, and it is very underrated. And I really think more people need to read it. I will also say that Jonathan has major addiction issues. That's basically what led to them breaking up, was when they got down to Hollywood, he just got more into drugs and alcohol, and he just got himself so sucked in he couldn't get out. And Kennedy did not want that. When she told him she was pregnant, he was so tanked that he told her he didn't care. And that's when she left him. And like I said, just their whole journey of getting back with each other, it's a ride. But I really enjoyed this one. It's so good. If you do decide to order the physical copy, it has like these really, really cute superhero drawings, but I love this one for a second chance. All right, well, that'll do it for my second chance romances. If you have any more that I did not mention, please drop them down below. I am always looking for more. But as always, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.